All right, we're on air. It is Thursday, October 18th. This is a meeting to check in on active tests relating to outreach for Backdrop CMS. The goal is to get more people talking about Backdrop, and we've got a bunch of things that we can or should be doing in order to do that. And we're hoping that these meetings will help us actually get them done. So on today's agenda, first item is our website. We know we should be using our website to spread the word about Backdrop. We think there is a problem with the way people add or find modules, themes, and layouts. We know about it. It's issue number 442 in the backdropcms.org queue. We want to make it easier for people to determine which modules are necessary on Backdrop if they're coming from 7, and the status of whether they're available or not. So there's a bunch of stuff in that issue that'll help us get there, like improving the search and making the design more friendly and adding useful information that's not modules to the module search. So if you're trying to install a module, it's not available, you will find out that it's not necessary. We also know we should be writing more regular blog posts. This is something that's apparently very hard for developers to do, is create content. We have an issue for that specifically. It's number 158 in the backdropcms.org queue. It outlines a bunch of things that we could talk about. In general, the blog on backdropcms.org is open to anyone. Anyone can write a blog about whatever they want. It will automatically be created in an unpublished state. All those get reviewed once a week, and they will be published if they are good. If there's anything that we're concerned about, we might reach out to the author and ask for revisions or approval from people who might be mentioned in blog posts and things like that. But for the most part, they usually go up right away because we don't have a lot of content in the queue. And if you want to write a blog post but don't know what to write about, there's also a list there of ideas, including information about what it means to be part of the Software Freedom Conservancy, security issues, which might be relevant shortly if we want to write about how our security process works. Integrations with external services like City CRM, Fastly, or local development environments like DDEV or Lando. My favorite, the community spotlight, where we pick people who are active contributing members to Backdrop and do a little mini interview for them and put their information up with a little thank you about them. We can have blog posts about each regular release. So I think there's one up about Backdrop 111. And of course, anything anyone else thinks is relevant needs to be on there. We are open to new ideas. So if anyone has time and wants to write a blog post, or doesn't have time but still really wants to write a blog post, we'd love to get more information up about Backdrop as it becomes available. Recently, we have gotten interest from people about setting up a Backdrop planet. So if you want to write blog posts on your own website and not have them appear only on our site, we should be able to curate those and make them available to other people. So right now we have a section on our website called Backdrop Mentions, where we can talk about places that Backdrop is appearing on the web. It would be awesome if that didn't have to be a manually curated list, but that people could say, I blog about Backdrop, here's a feed of my Backdrop content, and then our site could pull in all of that stuff as it's created automatically. We have gotten a fair amount of interest from people in the Backdrop community saying they would still subscribe to such a thing, but we have not gotten a lot of noise from people in the Backdrop community saying they are generating enough content to make that worthwhile. So what I would love to do is put that on our list for January as something that we want to do in terms of encouraging people to create this content. So if you create a module, maybe your company should write a little post about why they chose to create that module for Backdrop. Or if you're porting something, you could do a case study on a site that you've built. And all of these things could be great promotional material if you want to do it that way, or just informational material if you want to do it as training. And I think we just need to do a better job about encouraging people to write about the stuff that they're doing. I know people are much more excited about doing it than writing about it. But just saying that we're interested in having that out and encouraging people to submit that stuff to the client would be good too. But it doesn't look like right now, at least based on Twitter, we have a lot of that content being generated that we need to capture. So it looks like we have a demand for the content from all the people who want it, but we don't have creators creating it, which is funny because that's the same situation we're in with our blog, where we have people who want to know the things, and we don't have people writing the things down. So I think that's actually a pretty common problem for open source projects. But I would love to see a little more motivation on our part, mine in particular, about writing things down. Then just, it doesn't have to be a lot of information, just letting people know that it's out there. Or even if you could write a bullet list of things you want to put down for people. We have a marketing team that is happy to take a bullet list of thoughts and turn it into a well-formed blog post or article or newsletter or whatever we want to send out. So just more people kind of taking notes, I think, is something that we should get better at. So that's all I had added to the agenda. Tim, it looks like you added a section on demo link. Do you want to chat about that real quick?
Sure. I don't know if this is super urgent, but there was a forum post, the Pantheon, the link to create a spin up a Pantheon site. I think this is a known issue, but because it just came up. If you click on that and you're not logged in to the Pantheon, you just go to a Pantheon login page, sort of very unfriendly and not clear what's going on there. And I think there has been talk in the past about just adding some text on the like below the link or something to just warn users that they need to have an account. So this one person has been pretty active in the forum this week, asking lots of questions, and he or she is the one who brought this up and expressed some frustration about it. So I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, I think this became a lot more of an issue when we did our redesign, because before the button didn't say try a demo, it said, spin up on Pantheon or something, which was much more informative to people who are aware of Pantheon. Right. And we changed it because we were trying to target people who weren't aware of Pantheon and we wanted them to try it. But that does present a very strange experience. If you're not already familiar with Pantheon, you click the try a demo button and you get a login link.
Right.
And then you have to log in before you get the ability to install Backup. Right. But I think our long-term plans had been when you click that try a demo button, it would take you to a page on our site that would give you a bunch of different options to try a demo. So you could choose to install it on Pantheon, or you can choose to do it locally, or you could do whatever. But we have not yet created that page. We have a content type and a view, but it just isn't put together in a way that is sensible, with some, friendly help text and theming. So I think maybe the short-term solution would be just to change that button text back. And then longer term, I would love it if we could get that demo link to actually just fire up an automatic demo. And then we could have a button underneath it that would say, see more ways to try Backdrop. And that would take to our second page. Because I think that people do want to see a demo right away. And having them have to even go to a page and choose which option is not really the right impression we want to give people. But I don't know that we have a service that we can use right now for that. I feel like the closest thing we have is our pull request sandbox that we get with core issues, because when you create a pull request, you automatically get a sandbox, you get an admin login. Something like that, I think, would be great. Like if we could set up, and this might be trouble to maintain, but if we could set up a core pull request that always points at the latest version of core, and then we could like rebase it with every release, update the link on the homepage, provide here's your site, and then maybe even on the landing page, be like, here's your username and password or something on the homepage of that site. Then people will be able to log in. Maybe that's what the pull request should be, is like text that contains the username and password. I don't know if that's possible, because you need to have the pull request before you have the username and password. Anyway, yeah, I think there should be some way we can set up some kind of a demo site like that. I don't know how to make that happen, but I think that would be the ideal outcome. So if anyone wants to do any thinking on any way we could do that, and one way we could do it is set up a demo site, then log into the demo site as an admin and enter the username and password into like a block in a sidebar above the login form, and then log out. And then every time we have a new core update, we could push the updates to the pull request, update the pull request with the new information, and then log into the site and change username and password. We could sort of just have one long running demo site that does that, and that would always be there as long as we had our pull request sandboxes working. So that might be a good short-term fix.
Yeah, are we giving too much, like more than what people are looking for? Because when someone's looking for a demo site, do they really? actually want something where they have complete administrative root control over it, or do they just want to kind of poke around and see what, content types looks like, what taxonomies look
Yeah,
like
I
what the
mean, I
layout
think
stuff looks
they
like?
might even just want a video. They might not even want to use it, right? They might just be like, show me the thing. And that might even be more useful for someone who doesn't know what a content type or a taxonomy is. You can be like, here, well, having some kind of voiceover that's like, backdrop contains content types. Over here, you can do whatever. That might be even a better experience than thing. And then when you click like more ways to try it or whatever, then you could have like, here's a demo site you can play with. Here's a Pantheon site you can spin up and see the code. And that might be an even better experience. But I don't, I don't know what we would want to highlight in the like, here's a demo video. I feel like that's kind of different people might want to be seeing different things. So
well, that's different, better than what I was talking about. But I was just saying something where just an already built site with some stuff in there, and a user that's not a root user, but that gives like read-only access to the administrative pages. I mean, the key thing, like what Backdrop is different from just any website on the internet, is the administrative side of things. So we have to let them click around the administrative internet.
Yeah,
piece.
I think you're right that like having a pre-built site that people have access to edit would be much better. That sounds more like there's a module for Drupal called Demo that lets you maintain a demo site and have a database with content in it. That sounds more like that. That is going to be a much better impression for people to edit something that's already there, because especially people new to Backdrop, an empty site isn't going to be super meaningful to them.
Yeah. I mean, how much can we do?
Much harder because we don't have it already.
Well, how much value would there be to having just a site that has another user set up, demo user, where we give just enough privileges to maybe create nodes, right?
Yeah.
And then people could create nodes, and that would be easy enough to just periodically delete them, or you could even do it with a cron job or something.
Yes, that's what the demo site does. Every night it resets, so every 24 hours it puts it back to
or some period,
yeah, its original settings, which I think is nice. I think that would be the great thing for Backdrop too, is if we could get the demo module ported, then other people could use it for demonstrating their modules or themes or other things that they want to show off that they're building for Backdrop. The downside of a demo thing is that you then have to have like hosting space for it. So I don't know if that's something that we could negotiate with like Pantheon or DDev hosting or some hosting provider platform to give us that hosting for free, and then on the demo site we could be like hosted by whatever and give them a little love back that way. But yeah, I think that would be the best experience for people, is a predefined site with limited access that has something of value that they would recognize and be able to be like, oh, I can edit things. Oh, look how much power I have on the administrative side. And I think even if we did give them like root access, if it reset every night, there's less risk involved.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Or you could even give them multiple logins. Be like, login as an editor, see what it looks like. Woo, login as a root user. Woo, and then they would get an idea of that you do have different levels of access, which is also different from something like most WordPress sites where there's only one user.
Yeah.
So all these are great ideas. We should do them.
That sounds one within my capabilities. Maybe I'll give that a shot.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Well, ideas don't seem to be the problem. Time to get them done seems to be the problem. So
there's that too.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. I don't know that it's the most burning issue we have, but I feel like when somebody raises a concern like that, it's at least worth talking about it and seeing where things are at.
Okay, let's see. Newsletters next on the list here. I believe a newsletter went out on Monday, letting everybody know about Backdrop 1.11. We have other newsletters we could send. We want to correlate them to blog post content. So if we get more content written in the blog and we have a bunch of it we think is relevant, we can then send out a newsletter letting people know about it. Or if anything super relevant happens in the backdrop and or Drupal world and we want to notify people about it, we could send newsletters on those too. Issue in the queue for newsletters is number 177, and that's the backdropcms.org queue. Next up, videos. We would love to get some more videos made about Backdrop. We just mentioned a intro, high-level review of a CMS sort of video. I think that would be great. There are other things we'd love to make videos about. There are specific requests like how to update a Pantheon site, which could be good after this latest update. How to port tests over, so if you're writing code. I think just how to build sites. Like we need more how to build sites videos. So if you're building a site and you do something cool with like a views contextual filter or something neat with layouts, I think just doing a little 5-minute video and being like, hey, check out how I did this thing could be really relevant for people too. So just as everybody does their daily work, just keep an eye out for something you think is cool and might make a fun show and tell item. Issue in the queue for videos is number 130. That's also backdropcms.org. Next up, Twitter. If there's anything super relevant going on in the world we should be tweeting about, we can definitely do that. I generally try to schedule tweets a week out, but I only schedule 10 of them. So sometimes they're, hey, BadCamp is coming, or check out this latest new module, just kind of whatever happened in the last week to keep people who don't watch these meetings a little bit more up to speed about what's going on with Backdrop. But there could be other things that I don't know about that we need to be tweeting. So if you think we should be updating with more stuff, there's an issue for that. It's issue number 439, backdropcms.org. And if anyone, I don't know if either of you have something we should be promoting today. Tim, how was your open source CMS summit? Do you want to do a wrap-up article, like a blog post on that?
Sure.
You could be like, first one of its kind, really successful, everybody loved it.
Sure. Well, I plan to do something, some sort of wrap-up for it. So we could do something for backdrop.org. I mean, it went just really quickly. We had like 30 people registered, but only 15 showed up.
Okay.
But it was really good discussions. The people who showed up seemed really happy. We talked some about Backdrop. I would just say the thing that most stuck out at me that might be relevant to this is we had fewer WordPress people there than we had hoped, but the buzz sort of about frustration with Gutenberg and Classic Press and all that stuff was well, there's a lot of discussion going on about that right now. So I don't know what we can do with that, but I think in the Backdrop community, we should at least be aware of the stress and frustration going on in WordPress right now.
So for anyone who's not aware, WordPress is including a new front end. Is it a framework? So just a
sort of. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah.
Called Gutenberg, which is sort of a JavaScript API like interface. I'm not super familiar with it, where it changes the way that you interact with your the entire CMS. So your editorial experience will be very different. And a lot of people in the WordPress community are really concerned about this massive change. And right now, there's some plugin you can turn on. I think called, I don't remember what it's called. There's some plugin that'll allow you to edit the site the way you did before. And so most people who are distressed about Classic Press are using the new WordPress and putting on the plugin that makes it look like the old WordPress. But the plugin doesn't have a long-term life of being supported. And so there are a group of people that have decided that they don't want the new stuff, and they've created a fork of WordPress, and it's called Classic Press. And they've removed Gutenberg, and they're continuing a long-term support plan for the old WordPress. So very similar to Backdrop, where we didn't like the new stuff that was going into Drupal 8, and we wanted to continue Drupal the way it was before. We created Backdrop. Then they did the same thing in WordPress, where they wanted to carry forward the successful history of WordPress without the new stuff that they didn't want. So slightly different reasons, slightly different technologies going into it, but the same sort of fundamental thing of like, we have this fantastic product and we all love it and we want it to continue in the future, and so we're going to carry it forward without the new features we don't want. So I have been in touch with the folks working on Classic Press. They take a little while to get back because obviously they've got a lot going on right now, but they seem super motivated and interested in the things that Backdrop has done in terms of like forming a project management committee and decision making going forward and all of that stuff. So yeah, it looks like they're good people with good intentions, and they're just in the thick of it right now. So when they have time, we will talk more.
Good. I'll work on a blog post. Okay, that's great.
And if you wanted to put that blog post somewhere else, Tim, like if you're doing a different wrap-up, we can just throw that in the mentions section too. So whatever you'd put it in.
Yep.
All right, so other events coming up. We have Bad Camp in a little over a week. And we have a Backdrop Summit, which Jack helped us outline the schedule for the day. We have the beginning of the day, we have meet and greet, so we can figure out who everyone else is who's going to be there. Then we have sort of a show and tell period where we're going to demo some of the stuff that people probably haven't seen about Backdrop. Maybe in doing that, we'll get ideas for what we might want to put in our video, or we could do a little live stream of that too at the same time if we wanted. Post that on the internet. Then we have a showcase section where we can demo sites that have been built. And so, Tim, I signed you up for that. I don't know if you're planning on being at the summit or not, but I figured anyone who's built sites with Backdrop should have 5 or 10 minutes to talk about the things that they've done, which could be really fun. Anyone else who wants to be part of that, who's going to be at that session, we can definitely organize that too. And then in the afternoon, we have a community discussion, which is sort of open. So we'll figure out who's in the room in the morning and what it is they want to know most, and then we'll try and talk about those things in the afternoon. So we have a lot of people signed up. Last I checked, there were more than 30, which is great. Hopefully they'll actually show up. I don't know. But I think it's great that it looks like we have a lot more interest earlier on this year than we did in years past. And I suspect that's just because of where Drupal is. For the last few years, people have been unwilling to make a decision about what to do because they felt like it would come later. And now with the Drupal 8 end of life being announced, they're going to have to make a decision because Drupal 7 might also have end of life determined by Drupal 8's end of life. And so now they've got to make a choice. And so people are starting to more closely evaluate options. So yeah, it's exciting times. I'm excited to see how many people are signed up and interested in it. And then after that, if you're interested in other upcoming events, you can check out the events page on backdropcms.org. There's a couple of others indicated there, a few more camps and conferences, and then a couple of social events. In particular, the Backdrop birthday party, which is scheduled for January 15th. So if anybody else wants to celebrate Backdrop's birthday, we could definitely do that then. So that's all I have for today's agenda. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about that wasn't on the agenda? Okay.
Well, my meetup's going to happen eventually. I'd originally, as a lot of people know, scheduled something for today, but it looks like that's not going to happen. But well, I'll pull it together. Particularly, I'll bring it up as kind of a floor item at the Backdrop Summit, and just find out who is within range and what the interest is and that kind of stuff, and we'll make it happen then.
That sounds great. I think a lot of the people who are there might be local, and so that's a great place to say, like, hey, would you like to do this once a month? Yeah. Where would you like to meet? What day? What time? Let's figure out something that works for lots of people, and then you can make your best call on what you think is going to be good going forward. So that's nice. Yep. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this meeting then. We have another meeting starting in about half an hour where we'll check in on active development tasks for Backdrop. If anyone is particularly passionate about community outreach, we obviously could use the help. We have been using the backtopcms.org issue queue, as I mentioned, for most of the issues in today's meeting. But if there are other ways that you would like to get in touch with us, the forum is a good one. Twitter is a good one. There's a contact link on backtopcms.org with anything, any way you have an idea, help us get the word out. Get hold of us however you can. We will figure out how to incorporate those ideas into our to-do list. So all feedback definitely welcome. Right?
All right.
So thank you.
Thank you.